Okay, I think we're ready to go. So thank you, Dr. Young, for joining me here and giving us a little more information about Master Tsun Jinso. hopefully I can interview better than I
Don't
can.
worry, I forgive you. You're American.
Well, you and I've only known you for 20 some odd years now. You'd think I'd have learned by now.
Now, sure. I've been in America for more than 45 years. I still speak Chinglish. Think about it.
That's well, we'll call it even then.
Okay.
So I guess let's start with his history a little bit. When was he born? When and where was he born? Can you tell us a little bit about his about how he lived, his personality?
Yeah, the first one we try to see, he was born in 1911. 1911 is November 15th. Okay, and then he passed away in 1976, May 5th.
Oh.
Yeah, he passed away because of energy dispersion, because he trained too much of yang side, not too much inside, yang side. So that time, because trained too much of yang side, then it's a physically you manifest, the power manifested. So that's why you got the energy dispersion. It's very common, it happened in the Shaolin Temple in the past. I don't know if today happening, but in the past, when you train too much of physical, then that's body lose balance. You had to be trained bone marrow washing as well to balance it. But at that time, of course, bone marrow washing they kept a secret. So because the reason he didn't know, so he trained that. So he passed away because of stroke, because energy dispersion, and stroke is one of the common consequence of the energy dispersion. So he died in 1976, May 5th. So yeah, but as I know, because when I learned from him, he's about 44 at that time. And he has a daughter already married, and he have two sons. Yeah, so they live in the mountains, because Hsinchu, my hometown. I believe he was born in Hsinchu because he never left his home, too far away from his home. Okay, so in Hsinchu, in my hometown, there are 18 peaks of mountains surrounding the city, and so surrounding the city, like a semicircle. So that's where the wind come in from the ocean, then continue to circle around. So that's why my hometown is very well known, called Wind City, Fengcheng Wind City, because it's a lot of wind and a lot of sand, because there's Wind City. That's where how I grew up. Okay, so I believe he was born there because we never asked for detail. But as when I know him at that time, he was a farmer. He had a wife and 2 kids with him. His daughter already got married. So when you see the picture behind me, there's a picture. That's the only picture, only photo available when he passed away. But this was about 40 years old around that time when his daughter got married. When his daughter got married, that's the first time he took a picture for that. So that's the only picture. So they cannot find any other picture when he passed away.
Are there 1 or 2 photos from when you were training available?
Yeah, those photos, yes. I'm talking about the serial picture, like a portrait. Yeah, see, he even wear a tie. That's not him. So when you look at that, you can be fooled. So, oh, you wear a tie, his mother, because that was a wedding for his daughter. And his 2 young boys are much younger than the daughter. So when his daughter married, he still lived together with Master Jin Shaofeng, his master, his wife and the kids. So only after his master passed away, then they separate. Okay, so he's a very simple farmer, because again, he couldn't read, he couldn't write, he was not educated. He was not educated, but Christian, to me, he understands the philosophy of a life is deeper than most of the people I ever seen. Yeah, because from the training martial arts, he got a lot of experience about life and understand about the life. For example, he say, hey, when you learn, he called me Little Yang because I was small. I call Little Yang. He said, you're learning martial art with me. It's not learning martial art. you're learning the way of life. So that was profound, because at that time I didn't know, but actually it's true. From learning martial arts, that's why I learned to be disciplined, to have a discipline, and to be patient, and to a lot of things. It's all affect my whole life. Yeah, since I was 15 years old. See, that's why he's a very simple farmers, and very simple. Yeah.
Did he talk a lot about those ideas about what it meant to train martial arts, or did that just come through in your interactions?
No, it's because usually we don't really say choose a subject and talk about it. Yeah, usually, it's like a regular conversation. We sit together, we talk, we chat, and you tell a story, this and that, and some philosophy, this and that. That's it. Unless we ask questions. Yeah, the one that asks most of the questions, probably me, because every day after I get out of school about 3:20 in the afternoon. So because from my high school to where he lived, there's another peak of the mountains. So I have to cross another mountain, go there. So when I go there in the afternoon, because I like to hang around with where he lived. Yeah, because it's not the scenery is beautiful. At the same time, I feel so close to him. So that's why I asked him more private question than a lot of my classmates. Yeah. So, but other than that, he couldn't read, he couldn't write. So yeah, for example, he gave me the secret book about cavity press for a white crane. That book, he couldn't even read it because it comes from copy of his master's. So I just copy one and then make another Xerox. At that time, I have Xerox. Then they give me the original back and then another additional copy. But again, at that time, considered precious because that's considered top secret.
Yeah. He wouldn't teach that to his students.
No. He wouldn't teach it because the cavity press, he knows some cavity control, but he didn't really train to use a cavity strike to make people, for example, pass out numbness. But he can lock you. He can lock you. He can lock your cavity like a part of a chinna. Yeah, that's what he can
do. With a cavity press.
Like cavity press, and he can lock you, and then they cannot immobilize you. Yeah, that's what he knows. But he tried to get people passed out, and there are a lot of things that come from the legend. But that one I don't know. I never seen him do it. But yeah, even though he's so powerful, and young people can believe he's so powerful. Yeah, I was always wondering how can a person so powerful, a strength where it come from. Yeah, until later, it's all and because after I practiced with him for 10 years, then he tell me it's all from the martial grand circulation. At that time, I start understand what the martial grand circulation. Yeah, but I already 25. That's 2 years, 3 years before I left Taiwan already.
That's the internal side of white crane.
Yes.
Should we classify that, or is it even the right thing to call it as the ancestral crane as the name?
Because white crane, there are many styles, many developed. Okay, you trace back the history of a white crane. Actually, start from 800 AD, around that time. At that time in the Shaolin Temple, they have 5 animal martial arts. 5 animal martial arts. Inside white crane is one of them. Okay, but at that time already existing. But remember, Shaolin Temple is in the Yellow River. Yellow River is in the middle of China. On the north is a northern style, south is southern style. That's why Shaolin Temple inside, they have a northern style, they have a southern style. Okay, so white crane at that time is not considered southern white crane. Is because they can use it for the north and use for the south. And the white crane, when white crane passed to Tibet, Tibet have a white crane. It's called northern white crane, but also they also named Lama.
Yes,
I saw the style in New York City. There's one master was teaching a long time ago. So Lama. So there's a northern white crane. They use more kicking than southern white crane. And the one I know is the southern white crane because from there after Qing dynasty, then a lot of Shaolin monks get killed. So that's why they ship to the south. When they ship to the south, a lot of martial arts they have to be adapted to the south, the living style, because a lot of time they are on the boat. because the Southern style a lot about the river. So because the reason you had to be able to fit in to fight on the boat. So that's why the style of a white crane continue modified into more Southern style. Then you can fight on the boat, and the stability, the roots become more important and becomes emphasize a lot of short range. And that's why China get in. That's why the restaurant get more on the Southern style. When we go to Northern style, I don't know Northern style too much of a white crane. But when white crane passed to South, the main focus is on Fujian. So that's why Fujian is really, for the last 300 years, Fujian is a major places. But Fujian is next to Taiwan. It's only after Taiwan trade. After Taiwan trade, there's one side is Taiwan, the other side is Fujian province. Okay, so for Fujian province, beside the Fujian province is Okinawa. Okinawa. So that's the reason Okinawa about 300 years ago, 200 years ago, Okinawa actually is a parrot. Yeah, it's a parrot base. It's like Vikings. So all the parrot, they continue constantly attack to the coast of China. So I don't know why, how, because of some Japanese, after they attack the China, then they pick up the secret from white crane. So that's why it become a Ryukyu white crane. Ryukyu white crane is the beginning of Kaladi. So this Ryukyu white crane, when they pass to Japan, become today's a white crane, Kaladi. Okay, so because the reason I realized, that's why Japanese, they know, when they trace back to the Kaladi, actually it's from Chinese white crane. So from the white crane training, you can see a lot of structure is really, very similar to the Japanese Kaladi. For example, the Sanjian. Sanjian is a Fujianese, also Taiwanese. Okay, Sanjian, that means 3 battles. 3 battles is the first Qigong, hard Qigong sequence. It's hard Qigong sequence. That's why for any beginning, you train hard Qigong because you train hard and slowly go to soft. Okay, so the Sanjian in white crane, actually in the shouting crane, is really the #1 sequence for any students they started to train the hard Qigong. But when they pass to Japan, it becomes the highest level of Qigong training. That's you go to Kaladi, Sanjian is really, they didn't change the name, this school still called Sanjian. Okay, they didn't change the name. So when they pass Japan now, because Sanjian become the highest level black belt training for the Qigong. From there, I can see at that time when Japanese, they learned from white crane, they didn't pick up a lot of the essence yet. But from there, they continue to develop. And slowly they derive and to their own style and become today's karate. Okay, so that's what I know. Okay, but when Fujian in Fujian province at that time existing for 4 style, the most popular, most fundamental one is ancestor crane. Ancestor crane because called Zhonghe Quan. Zhonghe Quan, the Fujianese is called Zunhe. So Zunhe, so that's the original crane. Original crane because that's why when we talk about with my classmate, we always talk about Zunhe. So that's the original ancestor crane. From this crane, they divide into feeding crane, sleeping crane, and shouting crane, all these different cranes. And so become the 4 styles. Okay, so this is a style becoming next to Taiwan. So some of the white crane passed to Taiwan. Okay, and my master, he learned from Master Jin Shaofeng. Yeah, but from Jin Shaofeng, he learned from him. That's Jin Shaofeng, his expertise is ancestor crane. That's all I know.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, so it developed from the Shaolin Temple, worked its way south into Fujian, and then spread through to Taiwan, Okinawa, and
that's why you can see the Japanese, they have a side. But it's white crane, they have a side, and Chinese, the 2 short rod, Japanese, the same thing because they're still the same compound origin.
Sure. Wow, fascinating. That's great. So now, when you trained with Master Chen, it was just he just had his small farm up in the hills. You and your classmates would go to him and how he would just start teaching when you arrived, or
no, because remember in my generation, before me, he has one generation before me. And that generation, I don't even know how many students he taught. But he taught that generation at least 3 years. Usually it's 3 years in foundation, and still they separate, they go home. But at that time, we still have one or two of the older generation. They come to join us for practice at that time. But in my generation, at the time, actually we have a big group because the first generation has not too many people. Then my generation, we have 19 people.
19, yep.
19, yeah. So we have 19 people. Actually, I was the last one, number 19.
Lucky number 19.
Oh, sure. In Taiwan, that's considered not good of 9 because 9 is mean the bad luck. So, but anyway, that's how I train with him. But but the trend here because you see, in my 19 classmates inside, I was the only one go to the college and come to the United States. Okay, but most of them, except the other two, they go to a senior high school, and all others is primary school. After they finish the primary school, that's it. Yeah, so they are coolie. So they are not really educated. They know how to read, how to write. That's it. They don't have a higher education. But the question, because coolie, they have a different time working. So everybody go there with different times. So if whoever can go there earlier, they arrive earlier and start stretching, start warm up, start doing your stuff, and practice what you learn. And when people gather together, so usually about 7:30, then the people get almost there. Then my master, after finish dinner, will come out and take a look, and then he will sit there watching us train. Okay, at that time we didn't pay money, and the people there they go in and practice. After we practice, we go together, we come down from the mountains.
Huh. Mm-hmm. And he would just work with each student to their needs. It's not like today in a school like this where you have a structured curriculum or anything like that.
No, most of the time he was watching. It's actually the student teaches students. The student teachers and the senior student teach young students, because at that time the system is to the senior student you obey, period. Yeah, because they are older classmates, you just obey. Like your older brother, you obey. So that's the reason. So that's why because they teach you. When they teach you, you appreciate what they teach you. Yeah. So whoever come to pay attention to you, they teach you, even they give you trouble, you appreciate it because they give you trouble, so you learn. So it's not like today.
Very different today.
Today you cannot give student trouble, and then they sue you.
Are any of your old classmates still practicing or still teaching or training?
Yeah. Actually, a few years ago, I took a group of students, for Master Lee. My long feast master, 90 years of birthday. That was about 5 years ago. I took a group of students to Taiwan. Okay, at that time, my older classmates, they come to see the students. Yeah, Jonathan and Michelle was there, so they know. Yeah, at that time we will have a tour in Taiwan. Yeah, so there was a very, very happy, joyful time. And I took them to the old place we used to practice, and where I used to run to the mountain, because at that time there's no road like today. You have the road, the car can go up there. It's only a mountain passage, so we had to run there.
Has it been developed now, that area?
Oh, yeah. Nowadays there's a lot of houses there now. So the whole area is not the same as before. Before it's a very nature, mountain, you have a stream, whatever. Even the temple, because above my master's home there is a temple. That temple before is a real monk. The real monk, and then that's why they're chanting, they meditate. But today when I go back, it's not a real monk. It's a business now, because it becomes a tourist place, and people hire a taxi, go there, and I see the monk, they watch TV, and just like a regular people. So it's already lost the same feeling.
Yeah, was much of which you said. You said there was the text for the cavity press. Was there much written down about?
No.
Because
the question, the first one, he couldn't read.
Right.
Okay, he wasn't right, because since he was 15 years old, he did with the masters. Okay, but I don't think his master would teach them literature as well. So because at that time, because you think about for his generation, probably 90% to 95% of the people, general people, not educated. They couldn't read, couldn't write. Like my grandma couldn't read, couldn't write. Okay, so because reason that that time education is not like as popular as today. Yeah, today is very different. Okay, so because the reason, that's why I don't think how serious if he get the document and how serious the document was existing. So today I can dig out some document, the martial arts document, the one that can dig most of the documents is a Tai Chi Chuan.
Yes.
Because Tai Chi Chuan has been written down by Tai Chi Chuan a lot of time passed down by educated people. Yeah. So that's why the Tai Chi Chuan, is in a layman society. In a layman society, usually they have a more, because after from Wudang Mountain, they passed on layman society and the Tai Chi Chuan become popular. And that's why there's more elegant people, more educated people, and that's why they write down what they know. Okay, but White Crane is always hidden in the mountains, or it's not really the big things there. So because reason there's no White Crane information. When I wrote the White Crane book at that time, I searched for information. I couldn't find too much information at all. All I can collect it is all in the book already. At that time, yeah. So that's not like Tai Chi Chuan theory. Everything is a very deep, yeah. So very deep. So that's the question now. It will help me a lot because today from the White Crane is called soft hard style. The soft style White Crane is the same as the Tai Chi Chuan. The theory, listening, following, sticking, attachment, all these things. All these keywords in White Crane do the same thing. Okay, the soft side. But the hard side, White Crane is like a long fist. They use a physical body to fight. So because the reason the White Crane is soft hard style. So because the foundation, I was able to understand Tai Chi theory. But eventually the Tai Chi theory helped me understand the White Crane because White Crane didn't have too much theory behind it. But from the Tai Chi Chuan theory, I was able, because I have that experience from training, but I was able to use that theory to apply into White Crane. So that's helped me understand White Crane a lot. So
in principle, the internal, the soft side of White Crane should be very similar, or would be the same theory as the Tai Chi.
Yeah, very similar than Tai Chi. It's very similar. But the question is now in Tai Chi, I try to find, because in the White Crane we learned the martial grain circulation, especially the last few years before I came to the United States. Okay, but I tried to search for the Tai Chi Chuan if they have the theory in the Tai Chi Chuan. I only find one document that mentioned about it. Only a sentence that mentioned about it. That's it. And then everything. That's why I start wake up and say, oh, that's why my White Crane teacher didn't teach us until he trusts us after 10 years.
The grand circulation.
Yeah, the martial grand circulation. The same thing, I believe Tai Chi Chuan also, because Tai Chi Chuan, a lot of legends, a lot of masters, they have such a strong power. Where this power come from? It got to be martial grand circulation. So, but I found out that any written document is not existing. Only one sentence in one of the documents. And I realized that there's a called oral secret, because in Chinese, they pass a secret down to students, have a written secret and oral secret. Oral secret, usually the master, they keep it until one day they trust the student, then they tell them. Yeah, because you look at the martial grand circulation, it's not a big deal. If once you know it, it's not a big deal. It's very simple things, but questions, it make a big difference of a power manifestation.
Yeah. Okay, that's fascinating. So was the Qigong, was the internal component emphasized much at first, or not, or was it hard Qigong first, and then when the students were trusted, they would be taught the internal?
No, because in my White Crane, from the assistant crane from the Master Zhen is different. Because I try to search for other shouting crane, feeding crane, sleeping crane, all those things about what they train. But I got a lot of things they train, and since the crane don't train, that means they already been developed in their style. Like a Sanjian not existing in sister crane. But in the sister crane from Master Zhen, he have a similar sequence, but it's not Sanjian. Yeah, like a Qi Jing, you understand Qi Jing, the first sequence. That's considered like a hard Qigong. Yeah. And also he have a Sanhe. Sanhe is a called Fan Quan. Actually, it's the soft Qigong. So because they have a different approach. But the Sanjian, when they started, I don't know. But it exists in Shouting Quan and the Sleeping Quan. Okay, like for example, when White Crane passed to Taiwan, the Taiwan have two major style of a White Crane. One is the ancestor crane. That's where in my hometown, Hsinchu. The other one on the south of Taiwan in the Chikan, Xiluo, in the area of southern Taiwan. That's a huge, that White Crane is a feeding crane called Shihe Quan. So that one is huge, but that one, you go there, it's an entire village, they learn the White Crane. So those are the White Crane is now, is more spread into United States now. So sure. Yeah, so there's a called feeding crane. So some of the White Crane master, they are in the United States, they come to see me, they realize they are from southern China, southern Taiwan. Yeah.
So it strikes me that the ancestral crane, what you've studied for so long, is fairly unique. Are there other Chinese styles?
No, because you look at the feeding crane, a lot of times they do the forms, okay, and they get a lot of Jing training. Mm-hmm. But it's not, because you should remember, when I train my master with my master Jing, it's not that's what you see. Because for me, after I learned Tai Chi, I continue to modify, continue to edit, continue to modify it. So now this White Crane is more complete system. Yeah. Because I'm doing all these things to make it more system so I can preserve the art. So if anything void inside, missing inside, I'll use the Tai Chi Chuan theory to compensate what I'm missing there. And from White Crane, the experience, I use the experience to apply into Tai Chi Chuan what I missed in the White Crane. So from the White Crane experience and the Tai Chi Chuan theory, that's why I can modify both White Crane and the Tai Chi. So now you can see the White Crane inside we train a little bit similar to Tai Chi, and Tai Chi I train today with students is more similar than White Crane.
Okay, so that's really cool. So yeah. So you kind of filled the when you practiced, if I'm summarizing this correctly, but when you practiced White Crane, there were the internal components, but the theory wasn't explicitly stated.
No.
So the theory fills those gaps.
At that time, most masters, they tell you how to do it, but they don't know why. See, I'm the one trying to interpret why. Yeah, how I can do it. Why not that simple? Because you have to understand what the body is, the inner system. You have to know how to lead the chi. You have to know everything detail. By that time, it's not like that. It's not like today. I have access to all the knowledge. Yeah, but that's what makes me so unique today, because I was able to interpret a lot of ancient practice with the modern science.
Yeah, and through the Tai Chi theory too. And Master Zhen was the one who suggested you study Tai Chi, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah. That's because at that time you should understand that time the background, because at that time all the masters still very conservative. Yeah. But you understand, if you try to learn from train with another master, it's absolutely not. Because that's not, because when you learn from another master, you reveal the secret of the one master to another master. By that time, you see the martial arts secret is like today's nuclear bomb formulas. You cannot reveal to the enemy, because once the enemy know your technique, you got big trouble. So because the reason that's why all the master, they're forbidding students to learn another master. It's not only talk about royalties, but talk about the secret of the style. Okay, by that time, my master was more open-minded than everyone. That's why the reason, and that's why I say amazing part, he's a farmer, but at the same time, he's open-minded, because he will encourage us to develop new things instead of keep the conservative and the idea. Okay, that's why I learned from him a lot, to keep my mind open. So that's why today I can share the knowledge with the people, because he said, no, the more you open, the more you teach, the more you learn. That's what he said.
You've always encouraged us to question everything.
That's the reason that's from him, not from Master Li or Master Gao. Master Lee and Master Scout is very strict. They are military men. Okay, but Master Zheng is different. He's a farmer. At the same time, he believed the art should be continually developed instead of just keep it the same and so square. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is what was a question?
Oh, it was. I was asking about whether he had. That I was commenting that he had recommended you.
Oh yeah.
Tai Chi.
Okay, let's get back to that part. Okay, because when I was 9 years old to 15 years old, I had an ulcer.
Yes.
And the ulcer is very serious because we have 9 children in my family, and because lack of food, and I developed ulcer. The ulcer never disappeared. Okay, so one day I was training white crane, and the stomach pain. So I sit in the corner and cold sweat. Then he come, he take my pulse, and he say, "Oh, you have some problem in the stomach area." I say, "Yes, since I was small, then I always have. If I eat, I get pain. If I don't eat, I get pain." So that's why. But especially when I train, because white crane use a lot of waste to jerk the power, to manifest the power. So because the reason it can cause a cramping of the stomach. So one day I had an episode kick in. So he come to take a look. He said, I asked him, how can I do? How can I do? Because at the time we didn't have the money to see the doctor or whatever. And it's also. And then he said, I heard Tai Chi Chuan can help you relax the internal organ. That's what he said. Okay. And he didn't say, that's the only thing he said. That means what? That implies that you should practice Tai Chi Chuan. That's why I start searching for a Tai Chi Chuan teacher, because again, at that time, the teacher to teach students is not easy to be accepted because there's no money relation between master and students. The master teach you because simply they want to preserve the art they teach you. It's not say, okay, you pay me, I teach you. Yeah, so no, they count relations. So because reason, that's why even you try to be accepted, it's not easy. The teacher not accept you easily. So that's why I keep searching, and try to find any teacher who want to accept me. Then I found out the high school teacher, Master Gao. He's the teaching 5 students. So I go there, beg him to take me. See, so that's how I started. Amazing part, I learned the lower back movements and the soft movements, and slowly my front side of stomach start get relaxed. Then 6 months later, the episode of ulcers, start reduced. It's not coming every 2 days or every days. Yeah, it comes once a week, and slowly, more and more become once a year. And then since then I have to watch what I eat. Everything I eat is very sensitive, can cause stomach problem.
But the low back movements and the movements of the waist that you learned in Tai Chi were what helped relieve all that, all
Yes.
the ulcer pain.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, that's exactly from the lower back movements. Actually, is because lower back and the front side balance each other.
Yep.
So I learned to move the lower back. Actually, the energy from front side shift to the back, and shift back make the front side is more relaxing. So of course at that time I didn't know the theory, but from the exercise I can relax my stomach and much easier. So and then after that, and it's done.
Did the white crane training have a similar movement, or was it more?
White crane, they have a similar, they don't emphasize it because they emphasize more physical. But the Tai Chi Chuan is not. Tai Chi Chuan is not too much physical. Tai Chi Chuan movement is very soft, very gentle, very soft and relaxed. But white crane is not. White crane is more jerking to manifest the power. See.
I see. So generally speaking, when you trained white crane, it was more Jing training, more external.
Yeah, but from the white crane you can see every sequence is very short. It's not long like a long fist, but it's short. That's because inside they emphasize only about 6 or 7 Jing training, but they repeat the same Jing training, repeat the same Jing training. See, that's why they emphasize a lot of them. So you can see white crane is different from long fist. Yeah, long fist you can see every movement have a application, so obvious, but white crane is not. White crane is all the sequence is only a structure. From the structure, then there are many applications can be applied. So it's to me, sounds like today like a music, what the music, jazz. Jazz.
Sure.
I don't know, like a jazz. The musician they are on the stage. They don't know. They don't have a music. All they do, when they start playing, they harmonize each other without thinking. See, that's a high arts because you have to create right over there. The white coin, they give you basic structure, basic note, but you have to be able to know how to mix them and to apply in the real situation.
How to apply the patterns.
Yeah, that's why you get the patterns. So that's why every sequence they emphasize only 7 patterns or 6, 7 patterns. So from there you keep training until the body have the structure and you have the sensitivity of enemy and you have the reflexes. That's a white coin. It's not like a long twist.
Is that very common in the traditional arts? It strikes me that I don't see it very often. Yeah,
it's
very unusual.
That's why the white coin is not that popular.
Yeah,
to tell the truth, because the white coin really have the people who are really interested in the art. They understand the art. They will get in because they can enjoy that. Yeah, but a lot of people know. Today you can see long fist is more popular than white coin because long fist is more beautiful. You know, like a Beijing Wushu team is all long fist. Yeah, the white coin just not. Even in China, when I was in China at that time, we saw a white coin performance from Gu Jian. Yeah, we already modified. The white coin make it like a Wushu now, so it already lost the essence.
Is there anyone still training or studying the what you learned?
In Taiwan, yes, but in China, I don't know. Yeah, but you see the karate, the copy from Chinese white coin. Karate doesn't have too many technique in each kata. In each kata, they have only few technique, but they keep practice. They have the same mentality as white coin. Yeah, but again, the technique is already modified. It's not the same as white coin. Yeah, they are more harder because white coin called soft hostile, then the karate more like a hostile now.
It's very challenging to preserve what we know so much.
So that's exactly the white coin. That's why, the main thing I take a student to the mountain to preserve the art is not just to preserve the Tai Chi Chuan and the long fist, because Tai Chi and long fist already been existing, already so popular already. That one, I don't need to preserve it. It's still there, but the white coin is dying.
Sure. Let's revive it. Let's keep it alive.
Yeah, because deep. So that's why a question that you try to teach people white coin in the city is not that easy. So that's the reason I take a student to the mountain to train them. Yeah, it's the main thing is for the white coin. But so far it's pretty good, and there are few good students there, so they can keep the art going if they continue.
I mean, if the art can continue to develop and grow, what would you like? Do you have an idea of what you'd like to see or how you'd like it to grow and develop?
I don't want to dominate their thinking, because once they understand, I give them the tools. It's from their thinking they develop. Okay, because like a Jonathan, okay, like a Nikki, like a Quentin, they got the basic, they got the foundation. From now on, they develop, and after 20 years, become 3 style instead of 1 style. If I tell you what I like to see in the future, still 1 style, that's not good. No,
it'll be what it becomes.
Especially today, now people have a more opportunity to learn from different styles. Then why don't you modify that instead of just restricted only the white coin? You can mix them. See, so that'd be good. Like a 六合八法. 六合八法 is actually a mixture of Tai Chi Chuan, Xing Yu Chuan, 八卦掌. Yeah, so then become a 六合八法. Yeah.
So preserve the essence and let it grow and become what it's become.
Be creative. The arts mean to be creative. Otherwise, the arts is dead arts. See, remember I tell you the story, the white coin? That's a story, that helped me so much. You see, because I saw one moment, 2 of my classmates, they apply a different way for the application. And I come to ask him, say, which one is right? He said, both are right. I said, how can we both are right? He said, hey, little Yang, how much is 1 + 1? I said, 2. He said, no, it's not 2. I thought it's a killing because the 1 + 1 is 2, everybody knows. He said, it's not 2. I said, how come it's not 2? He said, no, your father is 1, your mother is 1, you marry, you have 5 kids, you have 7. 1 + 1 is 7. If you treat the art dead, it's 1 + 1 is 2. But trade arts, they're alive. 1 + 1 can be many. See, that's why I opened my mind. That's all this kind of story talking, all this kind of talking. It helped me my whole life. That's why I tell you, he said, yes, you learn martial arts, learning the way of life. That's true.
Well, that's a beautiful sentiment. It really is. And I think it's a great one to finish off on. Yeah, thank you so much.
Sure, no problem. I hope you got an A for this.
I hope it helps preserve and grow the art.
Okay, hey, you take care, huh?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Bastian.
Okay, you take care.